Hi guys, Paul from Journey for Petrol Lamborghini test day. Today we're looking at the interior of the Lamborghini and we're going to show you the engine bay as well. We'll count that as part of the interior because it's a mid-engine machine, right? And the occasion of getting into a Lamborghini is really what we're trying to give you a sense of here. So really, it doesn't have the scissor doors that the old Countaches and whatever used to have. The Diablo has them. You can see them over my shoulder there. They're really, I think they're a fantastic touch. It's a shame they don't do that anymore because it really is Lamborghini-esque. Anyway, let's get into this Lamborghini and see what we see. So the first thing we do, these handles stay flush as we've shown you earlier. Literally open it up and open the door. And as you can see, the door is huge. I mean, it's only a two-door car. The door is massive, right? The seats, I mean, we should have a look inside the car before we actually get into the car. Maybe Mr. Camera will come over and have a look at that. Look at these seats. You're sitting down very, very low. And they're adjustable in many, many different directions. So you can get a fantastic driving position in here. And you will notice that's it. The cabin ends right here. There isn't anything behind us, right? And the car is bleeping because we've got the key in, the door open. So let's jump in and see what we see. Getting into a Lamborghini is much easier now than it used to be. We're now in the Lamborghini. It's that simple, right? And everything falls immediately to hand. Perfectly sized steering wheel. We'll come to that in a minute. There's a start-stop button down here. I don't know if you can see that, Mrs. Camera. Start-stop button down here. Very much Audi font. Anybody who's got any sort of an Audi with an MMI interface will recognize the font here. Don't forget this is an Audi group car. So we have the font switches here from Audi. We have, these look very familiar, these heated seats, again, from Audi. And you know what? Why not? Audi have the best interiors in the business, and this is really putting that to fantastic use. What I really, really like, we showed you these on the test drive. These are the driving dials. Show us battery power, oil temperature, oil pressure. I like that idea in a really fast car like this. You will notice, now actually, I'm going to show you something here, Petrolhead fans. I don't know if you can see that, but if you look through there, we can look out the window through the mirror. You can't really see very well. You actually have some visibility at the back. Not a great lot of visibility at the back because the boot is up. When that's down, it doesn't show you much. Now, here's the dashboard. Now, the dashboard in these things, this is a TFT high definition graphics dashboard. The idea is there's no actual dials in here. This is all programmable. You can change this to show you various different things as you're driving along. So right now it's showing me the rev counter. If I'm in a Lamborghini, that's what I want to see too. When we were on the test drive earlier, it showed us a different configuration. There was a speedo, there was a sat nav. So it's really, really well thought out. The fact that depending on what you're doing, you have a different view in front of you. That's cutting edge stuff. I don't care what anybody says. Lamborghini are way ahead of everybody here. Here we have the fantastic Lamborghini. I mean, the Raging Bull icon for Lamborghini came about because Ferruccio Lamborghini is a Taurus. So he thought a bull. Why not? Here we have, now, let me explain this. Strada, Sport, and Corsa. This is the driving mode switch. Strada is your street mode for normal driving. Sport is sport. And Corsa is for the track. And what that does is it sharpens up everything. Sharpens up the gear changes, changes the engine, changes the magnetic suspension, changes the four-wheel drive system. The whole thing changes. It's a completely different animal to drive depending on which mode you're in, right? We have some controls on the steering wheel, which are fairly standard. And you'll notice, and I'm going on with this a lot, petrol heads, paddles, right? But this paddle shift is how it should be done. This paddle shift is mounted on the steering column. It's not mounted on the steering wheel. So when we turn the wheel, the paddles are where they should be. The paddles are where I left them. That's what I like. And we saw that on the test drive. When Joe was banging through the gears, he knew exactly where the paddles were, right? That's really, really important. Now, this being such a low car, speed bumps can be an issue. So we've got a couple options here. We can raise the nose. That's what that button does. That raises the front of the car up and down so we can go through speed bumps. That turns off the traction control. That's the doors and the windows and parking sensors. But it's clever. It's got, because it's a magnetic ride, we can change the ride height. And that again comes down to what happens with this driving mode button down here, right? So it's really, really clever that way. What else do we have in the interior? We have leather all the way around the interior. Nice seats, as I said. A lot of leg room. We've got the Lamborghini wording, of course we have on the Lamborghini. Why wouldn't we have that? We've nice air vents, and you do get some air in this car. It's nice, but to be honest with you, when you're driving along, it's the last thing you're thinking about. Okay, this is the gear shift, which is different to what you'd expect. P, M, and R, and really what you're doing is you're letting the car do the shift for you, or you're banging through the paddles as we saw up here. And they're nice big paddles, so you can't really miss them. So no matter where your hand is on the wheel, because the wheel is turned, you're still going to reach some paddle, which is really, really important. Secondary lighting controls down here. Brightness of the dashboard, fog lights, that kind of idea. Of course, I know it's upside down, but we have the Huracan badge along the sides. So this is a really, really good place to be. And you will see, you'll notice again, I don't know if you saw earlier a minute ago, the handbrake. It's a real Audi handbrake, right? That's exactly what it should be. So that's the interior of a Lamborghini Huracan 2014. It's a really nice place to be, it has to be said. Let's show you the engine bay. So, Lamborghini Huracan, a mid-engine machine. As I said earlier, that's what the LP stands for, longitudinal posterior. So what we have is the engine is in the middle and it's longitudinally mounted, and Lamborghini do that for gearbox transfer reasons. If you look at my journeyforpetrolhead.com website, look up some of the write-ups of the Lamborghinis, you'll see what I've explained that there. So the idea behind this engine, this is the very same engine that was in the Lamborghini Gallardo, the earlier model, but they've tuned it and they've added a stop-start system. So it's a 5.2 V10, but this one has direct and multi-point fuel injection, which means we're getting fuel directly into the combustion chamber. So we're allowing a higher compression ratio on the engine, which gives us earlier ignition timing, and that all means more horsepower. 610 horsepower out of this engine, which is really, really good. 0 to 62.5 seconds, quarter mile, 10.4 seconds at 135 miles an hour, and this thing maxes out at 212 miles per hour. It's just, the figures are mind-blowing, but that's what a Lamborghini is all about, right? The 7-speed gearbox is a dual clutch setup. I think I've described this before, where we have a clutch for the odd and a clutch for the even gears. So no matter what gear you're changing into, you're using a different clutch, the shift is instant, right? They act as one, but they're really two gearboxes acting as one. The Strada, Sport and Corsa switches that we just showed you on the steering wheel, they're controlled by the Anima system that Lamborghini call it, which is an adaptive network with intelligent management assistant, right? And it controls the engine, the transmission, the all-wheel drive, suspension, and it also controls the traction control, right? So you can set this up to drive pretty much any way you want, and to be honest, in any mode, it's a Lamborghini. It just drives fantastically well. There's nothing else to say about it. Okay, that kind of brings us to the end of our interior and our engine video of the Lamborghini Huracan. This is the 2014 model, as I've said. What we're going to do now is we're going to switch to the conclusion video, where we'll give you a bit more information on the background of this particular car and what our overall thinking is. There's not much else to say, really. Like and subscribe if you like this video or you like this car, and thanks to Joe, who gave us the lend of the car for the test drive, and thanks to Carl Goodwin, who has it up for sale, and we'll see you next time. Thanks, guys.